I wanted to present about 5 slides and then go into a video, and really is the story of Horizon Power over the last 5 years, and at the heart of it is change. This is a very simple framework. I put it up because it does describe a little of what we've gone through. It's put together by Boston Consulting, and they talk about change coming in 2 phases effectively. The first phase is all about efficiency and cost. They make the point very soundly that you can't actually cut your way to glory. So once you've actually driven efficiency into a business, you do need to create a vision which motivates employees. You need to demonstrate relevance to your customers, that you're going to be around for the long term. So let me just talk to what we've done in Horizon Power around those 2 phases. First phase, we operate across 2.5 million square kilometres. We've got 40-odd towns of different sizes that we operate in. We're vertically integrated. We've got 100,000 customers, 10,000 businesses. We're unique, and we used to maintain that. We used to say there was not a benchmark that we could use anywhere that would allow us to actually inform the business around efficiency. We broke that paradigm and we looked to the US co-ops. They operate in the southeast part of the US. There's hundreds of them. They service about 50 million customers. They've been in existence for 75 years. And the owners, the operators, the customers are all the same. They're very, very focused on cost. And we learnt a lot by doing benchmarking there. There's certain differences, but we learnt a lot. We set a very bold target of improving our bottom line by 100 million per annum. To give you some sense of the magnitude of that task, our business is about 600 million, and about 2/3 of that is actually wrapped up in fixed costs. So driving a $100 million improvement, largely through cost, but some revenue initiatives, was a big deal. But the big difference, while we're talking to the US co-ops, one of them signed up to a nuclear utility that gave them wholesale electricity at 4 to 5 cents a kilowatt hour. One of our towns, if I choose Menzies, for example, which would mean nothing to anybody in the room, I suspect, cost of delivering energy into Menzies is over $2 a kilowatt hour. So there's some pretty fundamental differences. Disruption is impacting on us. It's not necessarily impacting on the US utilities. So the first part is to actually drive efficiency, get credibility, get confidence, both with your shareholders, your stakeholders, your government, your employees, and then look at the industry that we're faced with. And CSIRO recently has done a batch of work through the Future Grid Forum, and then more recently for the Energy Networks Association. They speculated on 4 different pathways to the future in 2050. If you took one that started to balance a lot of things and assumed a lot of cooperation amongst stakeholders, but put customers at the core, but looked at affordability, looked at carbon emissions, looked at reliability, and looked at equity, and had a balance on all of those, you ended up in 2050 with an outcome where 2/3 of Australian households have distributed energy. 1/3 are on standalone power tariffs. And of the $1 trillion that we're going to spend collectively on electricity through to 2050, 40% of that will be spent by customers and their agents. So we had a look at that. We had a look at it in the context of all the remote systems in Western Australia and Australia. And there's hundreds. What we did is we looked at how the technology would impact on servicing those remote systems across Australia. And we did it at different time points, and we assumed CSIRO's curves for performance, and we actually thought we could better the cost performance that they saw. And we ended up, and you can see it, moving from what's today sensible is centralised energy supplying those remote towns. By the time you get to 2050, and you can debate how quickly we will get there, it's moved very clearly to a distributed energy future with standalone power systems featuring very strongly, very consistent with the work that CSIRO have done. For us as a business, what did it mean? Well, at the core of the business is a portfolio of non-interconnected system microgrids. That's what we are focused on. We are now focused unashamedly on moving that towards that highly distributed energy future. Through that, we're going to be creating the choices that customers want. We are absolutely clear that there's going to be lots of regulatory issues, there's going to be pricing issues, there's going to be a whole host of things that we need to work through. But that's what we're driving towards. We see that convergence where the customer is going to be an integral part of our system. And we're now working toward that end state. And in fact, all of the trials that we now do within the business, and I'll talk to two of them very quickly, are all driven with a strategic purpose, which is focused on that microgrid future and the highly distributed energy future within that. So one of the things that we've done is we've installed smart meters across all of our customer base, particularly in Port Hedland. We're now conducting a trial on different pricing philosophies and tariff structures. We know that the current tariff structure, which is probably ubiquitously across the globe, volumetric, fixed, undifferentiated, bundled, is not going to serve us into the future. So we need to start to look at unbundling that and making it work both for the customer and for the utility. Both need to win. Both need to be sustainable. And the pricing effectively research project that we have going on in Port Hedland with 500 customers is we have profiled their loads, we're working with them, and what we hope to do through the trial, which is midway through 3 to 4 month period, is actually help us shape a telco type structure. And the telco type structure would have, based on a consumer's demand at peak, have them sign up to a particular plan. Higher demand, higher plan. Lower demand at peak, lower plan. With a modest energy charge associated with that. As you move to that, customers have got the incentives to start to move their discretionary load away from peak times. They can actually start to deploy distributed energy resources and value that according to whether they move down a plan or not. This has got some attention from quite a number of bodies, and we'll be working through that through the next 3 to 4 months, hoping to inform whoever the government in Western Australia is in terms of the benefits that come from that. The other trial that we've got going is in a little town called Onslow that's been subjected to massive resource development and is quadrupling in size. So we're spending $150 million refreshing the entire infrastructure, and we're going to take it to a highly distributed energy future. We expect that within 2 years, Onslow, 60-70% of the energy on that system will come from distributed energy resources from the customers themselves. That's the vision that we have got. Interestingly, that's a single microgrid. The reason I've got a picture of New York next door is New York, in terms of building resilience, in terms of refreshing its infrastructure and giving people what they want, driven down from Andrew Cuomo, regulatory push, is actually focusing on using the grid to spawn the development of microgrids. And they're going to look very different. We're looking at a highly distributed energy microgrid, but you can imagine in New York you're going to have a military installation, you're going to have a hospital precinct, you're going to have residential developments, you have university campus. They're all going to look slightly different, but the intent of that approach is to actually spawn the development of microgrids. So my view, and I've said it without tongue in cheek, is that basically New York equals 10,000 Onslows. And there is something in that because the technology, the approach, the philosophy is going to be relevant to remote grids as well as the grids that develop, the microgrids that develop in the embedded grids. Let me just go straight to the video because that'll add some colour and some context to the story that we've got that's unfolding in Onslow.
Onslow is set to be the home of Australia's largest and most advanced distributed energy microgrid, targeting more than 50% of the energy needs to be supplied by renewable power. Horizon Power is preparing to deliver this contemporary energy solution by developing and integrating distributed energy resources through an intelligent system control network. Distributed energy resources include rooftop solar and batteries at residential and commercial properties. Horizon Power believes that these resources are the key to a more sustainable energy future, where individuals can service not only their own energy needs, but can also help service their community's needs through a dynamic energy trading platform. The Onslow Microgrid project represents one of the largest and most comprehensive microgrid projects currently underway in the Asia-Pacific region, and will see customers enjoy improved reliability and greater control. Underpinned by a modular efficient power station and state-of-the-art solar farm, the Onslow microgrid will leverage off advances in digital communications infrastructure to integrate with intelligent devices and appliances, as well as prepare for future technologies such as electric vehicles. Customers will have the opportunity to optimize their interaction with the system in real time and genuinely experience the microgrid through any device, anywhere, anytime, while the microgrid responds to the customer's needs in the most economically efficient manner possible. Importantly, the features of Horizon Power's leading microgrid operating platform aim to support the development of local communities through increased competition and greater participation, which will lower electricity bills, as well as the subsidies that government pays to support the provision of reliable energy across regional areas. A microgrid which optimizes distributed energy resources is able to deliver more cost-effective and environmentally friendly energy, reducing the carbon emissions produced by conventional generation. Horizon Power's vision is for a new era of energy competition and efficiency, where all customers have the opportunity to benefit from the overall lower cost of producing energy.